This is another video response to Theoretical Bullshit's video, Who Are Your Top 5? I actually gave this a lot of thought before recording the video, and I came up with far more than 5 people. So eventually I just decided to go with one person per profession. A psychologist, an artist, TV director, a writer, and on number 1, a theologian. My number 5, the psychologist, has to be Sigmund Freud. I never really used to agree with what is most commonly known about him, but I decided to start reading his most popular book anyway. It says Introduction to Psychoanalysis, and it is basically a series of lectures addressed to medical students, so it's a bit weird to read it as a book, but I think it's very interesting, and I would much like to talk to him about psychology, and even though I still do not agree with everything he says, but I just think that it may make this even more interesting. My number 4 on the list is the artist. I went with John William Waterhouse. He was a romanticist painter, and I always loved his paintings. They always evoke deep emotions in me, and I'd like to discuss his paintings with him, talk to him about what he was trying to achieve, what he was trying to invoke, and if he thought he was successful. I don't really know much about the man personally, so I don't really know any other things about him, but I think he was a well-educated man, so he would probably be interesting to talk to as well on other issues. Number 3 is Gene Roddenberry. He is best known for the creation of Star Trek. Regardless of your feelings about the series, Roddenberry was a man who attacked racism and attacked sexism in a time in which racism was at a depressing peak in the 60s. He was a very ethical man, a very intelligent man. He was also an atheist. I think what he did with Star Trek, he made a few masterpieces. He made very interesting episodes, and some very stupid one as well. And a lot of his work challenges your mind, but he can also just tell a beautiful story. And with him I'd like to discuss ethical issues and talk to him about his vision for the future. And despite thinking that the world was in a sad state when he lived and when he died, he always kept hope for humanity. He always thought that in the end things would always get better. He was always an optimist, and I think the universe of Star Trek is just his vision as a universe without disease, without racism, and all those things. And well, I'm personally not as optimistic as he is, but I like to talk to him about stuff like that. My number 2 is Isaac Asimov. If you don't know who he is, you'll probably know this, I, Robot. The movie is actually not based on this book, as this book is a collection of short stories, and it's not my favorite book by him. I think I have it here somewhere as well. Prelude to Foundation is my favorite book by him. It is prelude to his famous Foundation series. All very well written. Isaac Asimov was the man who popularized the word robot, which is actually Russian for worker or to work or something. There are some things in the movie I, Robot that are based upon his universe, like the laws of robotics, which he created. And he is often seen as the father of modern science fiction. And he was also a scientist, and he was an atheist, though he preferred to call himself a humanist, because he didn't really like the term atheist. He just said that you're not a theist. From his books, Asimov seems like a very interesting, intelligent and creative person, and very funny as well. Has made a few very funny stories in the sequel to I, Robot, all the other robots. And I just think he would be a very interesting man to talk to. My number one. Was surprising to see that no one actually mentioned him yet. Not Daniel Goleman, he's just the one who wrote this book. The Dalai Lama. This book is actually a discussion with the Dalai Lama and a bunch of scientists who, I must admit, I never actually heard of myself. He's a Buddhist, so of course he is also a very compassionate man. He's my theologian, though I suppose Buddhism isn't as much a religion as Christianity or Islam or Hinduism or any other, most other religions. But what he tries to do in here is tries to combine Buddhism with science, because he feels that ultimately both are just searching for the truth, and he's just interested in the truth no matter what it is, even if it contradicts his religion, even if it contradicts Buddhism. And I think that makes him a very open-minded person. There aren't many religious people who think that religion should always conform to science, because what science has proven to be true is basically true. Not many religious people acknowledge or understand that. On this note, I'd also like to mention Atatürk, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. He lived in Turkey, as far as there. He was the founder and first president of the Turkic Republic. He agreed, he lived way before the current Dalai Lama, but he had the same vision about science, and he was also a scientific man, and also I think a very moral and in theory also a secular man. Even though I do not agree with either of their religions per se, I mean, I do not believe in reincarnation, and I'm not Muslim. But I think it is a good thing that there are religious people who understand science, and people like him make sure that even religion moves on in the world, that religion doesn't remain stuck in the dark ages. That was my list of 5 or rather 6 people, I suppose. So let me know what you think.